As soon as I saw the sexy bone-themed armor for the Warlock in the Season Pass, I knew I had to make a bone-themed build with it. I have timestamps down in the description for it if you just want to see how I achieve the look, or if you only want to see how silly this build can get. First for the weapons is the Rat King with the perk Vermin. Reloading after a kill grants brief invisibility. It also has Rat Pack, which makes it full auto, and when other Rat King users are nearby, it gains a boost to most of its stats. Then if you have the Catalyst, it improves the stability and target acquisition and gives a boost of health upon reloading after a kill. In the secondary slot is the Tyranny of Heaven bow from the Last Wish raid with the explosive head perk. I really like using the explosive heads in the crucible because if you have someone sword peeking around a corner, you can fire arrows at the corner, forcing them to move. It's also a lightweight frame, so it allows us to move faster with it equipped even when we're floating in the air. And finally, there is the Temptation's Hook sword. It's a caster frame, so the heavy attacks send out a disc of damaging energy. I really enjoy going invisible with the Rat King and killing guardians with swords. The helmet is the exotic The Stag, with the perk Dearly Departed. Grants rift energy when critically wounded, and drops a healing rift on your corpse when you die. Then for combat style mods, I used Surprise Attack. When charged with light, reloading or readying a sidearm will consume all stacks of Charge with Light, and convert them into stacks of a major damage buff, which are depleted as you damage enemies with that sidearm. The gauntlets have the Shield Break charge that gives a charge of light when breaking a combatant's shield with a matching element type. A very circumstantial mod to use in Crucible, but occasionally it can come in pretty clutch. Stacks on stacks are on the robes. This makes it so that when we become charged with light, we actually get 2 charges. On the boots, I put the Taking Charge mod, where every time you pick up an orb of power, you get charged with light. And when coupled with Recuperation, which gives health every time you pick up an orb of power, you're going to want to pick up orbs as often as you can. And finally, on the Bond, we have Precision Charge, where getting rapid kills with a bow will make you become charged with light. Now, the super I like to use is Top Tree Dawnblade because you can pretty much do anything while in the air. When you use it in conjunction with Rat King, it can get absolutely silly. People expect hunters to go invisible, but nobody expects the Warlock to go invisible and fly above them. After using this build in Crucible for a few days, I found it has quite a few strengths and only one weakness. It is absolutely beautiful against shotgun apes. All you have to do is throw down a rift at a corner or through a doorway where you know there's going to be a shotgun ape sliding through, but make sure that the rift is peeking out just enough so that they'll be able to see it. A rift is to a shotgunner what a dinner bell is to Pavlov's dogs. They see it come out and they start salivating. You'll see them come tearing around the corner or through the doorway, firing off their shotgun rounds like caffeine-filled mad lads, but once they get there they'll realize you're not there. You're actually above them raining hell with the Rat King. The skill level of the shotgunner dictates how long you can get away with this though. Classic apes will fall for it every time, but the big-brained apes like Caesar from Planet of the Apes will punish you for repeatedly trying to trap them. If you get a shotgunner that knows your antics and has figured out to look up, that's when it pays to spice things up. At a doorway, for example, if you put a rift on one side, immediately jump out of sight and over the door frame to the other side of the doorway and crouch down. Their attention will likely be up and in the direction of where you place the rift, and you can hit him from behind with the Rat King. You have to think like a rat, stick to the shadows, and become an opportunist. If you don't know that you'll survive an encounter, scamper away to a more advantageous position. When Skynet took over and the Terminators began to wipe out humanity, rats thrived. When apes took over and enslaved humans, rats also thrived. Think like a rat and you'll survive just fine. Now, the one stasis super that this build absolutely nibbles on for breakfast is the Behemoth Titan. Stay in the air and throw everything at them and they'll never touch you. That is, unless you run into that one Titan that knows how to throw themselves in the air with the ice wall grenade, but I've only run into like one of those in the last couple days of playing this. The biggest difficulty I found was Duskfield grenades. When used properly, these will suck you out of the air and freeze you before you can say,
Rex Murs inclusi essent.
And now for the fashion of it all. The Rat King has the Catacombs ornament because of how well it highlights the skull on the back of it. The other ornaments either partially obscure the skull or make it look weird. Also, something I didn't notice until I made this video is that the front sight on Rat King is a slice of cheese. It's such an amazing detail that you don't really see unless you're in an area like in front of Spider and your weapons are up. The Stag helmet has the Dreaming Spectrum shader. The gloves are the steeplechase ornament from the Seasons Pass with Mercury Vex Chrome shader. Both the chest and the boots are also steeplechase ornaments with the Mercury Vex Chrome shader. The Warlock Bond is the steeplechase ornament, but for some reason it doesn't take shaders, so I put Crucible Peppermint on it just because I could. I used the other side Sparrow with 44 steel because it's essentially Rat King but in Sparrow form. And finally, for the ship, I used Shadow Trespass with the Dreaming Spectrum ornament. I don't have many of the Halloween ships with bones all over them, but much of the Shadow Trespass's skin is flayed away, and one can clearly see much of the skeleton beneath it. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.